Hello everyone, welcome to the broadcast from Aleph India. I am Shipra Sharma, the host of this podcast, along with the Business Development Manager in Aleph India. Today with this podcast, we are going to dive into the deep knowledge regarding the conformity assessment required for the foreign manufacturer as well as for the domestic manufacturers to fabricate their product, along with how they were going to sell their product in the Indian market. As we all know that every country have their respective parameters regarding the certification along with the safety of their consumers and the environmental issues. Today we are going to gain all the knowledge regarding the certification of BIS and CRS from Mr. V.K. Sinha, who is the guest of this podcast, and Mr. Binod Kumar Sinha is the ex-DDG from the BIS who served approximately 36 years of his life with BIS and giving us the knowledge regarding the certification today. Welcome Sinha ji.
Thank you.
So, how are you feeling to be a part of this podcast as well as a part of Aleph India team now?
Well, Shipra, after my long tenure with BIS of 36 plus years, and I find myself a very nice opportunity to be with a part of Aleph India group, because Aleph India is doing the same thing what we used to do during our BIS days. That is the various types of conformity assessments and the compliance requirements of not only BIS but many other regulatory bodies that is they are operating in India. Yes.
Great, sir. Great. So, is it possible for you to provide our viewers a little more knowledge about your journey in the BIS?
Yes. Why not? My journey in BIS, I entered BIS as scientist B long back, and through various stages of my postings in New Delhi, in Patna, Ghaziabad, Kanpur and many other locations, Central Laboratory and other things, I reached a level of Deputy Director General in BIS, and it has been my really great opportunity and pleasure to work in various capacities and various fields, almost all fields of BIS, in different capacities that I have worked in during these 36 years of my service. What I mean to say that I have been into the standardization, into the conformity assessment, into the laboratory activities, into the training aspects, and many other promotional activities what BIS is doing these days. So in each and every activities and areas what BIS is doing, I have been part of it. It has been my good luck, I should say.
Excellent, sir. So, as you mentioned that you joined BIS approximately 36 years back.
Yeah.
So, it is possible for you to tell our viewers or enlighten a little point regarding these services which are done by BIS and the process of the certification?
Yes. BIS is doing formulation of standards. Apart from that, the standard formulation activity, it is doing many conformity assessment programs. That is product conformity, system certification, and within product also we have ISI mark, we have hallmark for the precious metals, and even for ISI mark it is for domestic manufacturers and foreign manufacturers. So these different types of conformity assessments BIS is doing. And apart from this management system certification, there is also a part of conformity assessment in various ISO 9001, ISO 14001, and so on, up to ISO 50000, in which there is energy management system. That this type of management system BIS is providing to its customers, so that they are up to the mark in managing their affairs in the most efficient manner.
Amazing. And sir, how does BIS contribute to the quality and standardization of products and services in India?
The quality of conformance to the product with respect to certain standards. So BIS is basically a standards formulation body. If you see that BIS Act 2016, which was enacted by the Parliament, it has the basic aim of harmonious development of the various activities of standardization, and also its integration with the national development as well as export development. So with this aim, this BIS Act was passed in the Parliament. Now this empowers BIS to have various activities, including formulation of standards, including conformity assessment schemes, including training activities, and then also consumer awareness. So with all these activities, BIS is moving forward with the only aim that we should make our country a quality conscious country in which each and every consumer is aware of their roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
Yes.
That was very amazing information, sir. I also got to know this after a very long time. So moving on to this, you are also aware that standards are not confined to the borders now. And can you please confirm that how BIS how BIS dealing with the international standards and organizations, and why it is essential for the globalized economy?
See, BIS was established in the year 1946, and finally on 6th of January 1947 it came into existence. You will be surprised that ISO, the International Organization for Standardization, was also established in the same year, and ISI, the then ISI, which was converted into BIS, was the founding member of ISO. And even on the date, BIS is very active in various international bodies in the formulation of standards and conformity assessment. So what I mean to say is that ISO, IEC and TUC, these are not the standards bodies in which BIS is a very active participating member. Okay, and apart from this, there are various regional bodies like SARSO, Codex Alimentarius, which deal with the food, standardization. These bodies are very actively participated by BIS, and we are contributing to the growth of various international standards. And along with this, whatever the standards are formulated internationally, BIS is adopting them into as a national standards in different modes. Sometimes they directly adopt the standard, what we call identical standards. Sometimes they are modified slightly, and sometimes they are harmonized. But harmonization means we just keep our country-specific requirement into the standard without compromising with this relevance and the key parameters. So this is how BIS is very active in the global economy in the formulation of standards as well as its conformity systems. So that way, I think it is a great work which BIS has been done, and therefore it is called the National Standards Body of India.
And sir, in what ways does BIS ensure that Indian standards align with the international practices?
First, we are formulating standards keeping into our national requirements, what we call direct Indian standards. You will be surprised to know that BIS has formulated around 40,000 plus standards, much more than ISO standards have been formulated. So these standards have been formulated keeping into our national requirements. But there are many standards which are globally formulated. They have been directly adopted by BIS as identical standards, and we are giving them a dual numbering system. For example, if you see some of the standard, we call it IS so and so for any product. But if we are adopting any international standards, we are just writing IS/ISO and all these standards. So if these standards are directly adopted without making any changes, it becomes an identical standards. So we always keep the standards updated. The standards are a dynamic document, I should say. It's not a stagnant document. So whenever there are changes in technological changes, there are changes in the manufacturing practices and all that. So these amendments and revisions are a part of the standardization process. So this way, BIS keeps all international practices at par with our national practices. So we are not far behind any international practices. So this is the way how we go ahead with standardization and also with conformity assessments.
Okay. So in this case, sir, you must be aware that the standards and the product certification has positively impacted the Indian market. And how do standardization products and services contributed all over the nation or development and the safety of the nation?
Yes, that's a good question. Shipra, I would like to inform you that a standardization and conformity assessment is basically a voluntary process. But due to the considerations of public safety, public health, national safety, and consumer safety, environmental and plant safety, animal safety, and many other parameters. These standards, which are basically voluntary in nature, they are mandated by government to ensure that these all safety requirements and health requirements are maintained. So those products which are brought under these mandatory certifications, they need to be produced with certain BIS standard mark, because that ensures the quality of the product, which is good for the consumers, which is good for the environment, and overall good for the economy. In this way, I would like to mention you that India has been part of many global conventions. If you go to the history, there are a Stockholm Convention, there is Vienna Convention, there's Montreal Protocol, you see the Uruguay round of talks, and very recently the Paris Convention. These conventions, India has been very active signatories of these conventions, and these conventions are basically to ensure that the environment which our future generation will be getting, they get a very clean environment, safe environment to live, the planet Earth. So therefore all these conventions and protocols are meant to ensure that your ozone layers are within limit, the organic pollutants are within limits, and the carbon footprints on the earth, they are also within limits. So these, and India being a signatory of all these conventions and everything, India is bound to ensure that the products and services which are given into this country in domestic way, or whatever they are received from foreign countries as an imports to India, they meet all these safety and environmental requirements. Okay, so what I said, that all these mandatory certification protocols and these notifications just to ensure that the consumers get the best in terms of their health and environment. So this is the basic objectives what government is doing by making these products under the mandatory certification.
So as we're talking about the ISI, BIS certification and the marking, I do not want to miss on this question. So nowadays we are frequently hearing about the government has issued new QCOs for the multiple products or for the various products into the industry. So can you please provide some information to our viewers regarding the same?
Why not? This I said as that India has been a signatory to various conventions. Now if you see the recently United Nations conventions, you must have heard SDG 17, which was passed by United Nations in the year 2016. There was the 17 Sustainable Development Goals which was set, and it is covering a wide range of areas and issues, poverty, hunger and all that. But where BIS is concerned, we need to note the goal number 3, goal number 6, sustainable goal number 11 and sustainable goal number 12 particularly, because these deal with general well-being, public well-being, health, clean water and sanitation, sustainable cities and sustainable communities, and also responsible production and responsible consumption. This is sustainable goal number 12. You see, sustainable production and sustainable consumption has a very wide ramifications. If you are producing something, it should not be of inferior quality because it damages the environment and the earth. So your production should be responsible, your consumption should also be responsible. Because therefore in that interest, these quality control orders, which are being issued by the Government of India through various notifications, they are meant to, with the same understanding that with these compliances, the consumer and the planet Earth both will be, benefited, and therefore they are issuing so many quality control orders. You must have seen in the recent months we have been issuing many quality control orders, and they are basically why? Because Government of India is bound to comply to those conventions, the requirement of sustainable goal. India is a very important signatory to these conventions. So Government of India cannot avoid such requirements of making things and bringing things under quality control order. And hence you are seeing the result that many products are coming into QCO. And in fact, I would like to tell you that in years to come, or rather days to come, so you will see many more in the pipeline which are being declared for notifications. Yes.
Great. Amazing information, sir. So, sir, you have given us most of the information and the knowledge regarding the BIS. So, as you said, that BIS is taking a lot of information and taking a lot of things from their end. But it is necessary to get more information from your end regarding the government, how they are actually behaving or giving the benefits to the end consumer, and how they are giving the knowledge to the end consumer regarding the process.
Yes. It's very important because if you are doing so many activities and not keeping the consumers aware about what government is doing for them, so the entire purpose is defeated.
Correct.
So BIS has taken a very vast initiative into educating the customers at different levels. Recently the BIS has started at the school levels, and then college levels, then community levels, then district levels, and then national levels. The standards club have been opened in smaller schools. There are quiz competitions being organized, and they are told about the standards, the ISI mark, what is the mark and what is the purpose. So from the basic school levels they have started. Standard clubs have been created at the college level also, and similarly at community level, Manak Manthan, the programs have been initiated by government where awareness campaigns are organized. Apart from that, advertisements on TV, the display boards, and these things are given at various important locations. Now, government is the biggest purchaser of certified products, of the products. So, what BIS has done that a committee has been formed at entire district levels all over the country, where they go and meet the district purchasing officers and they explain them if you are going to procure these products, for example, irrigation department, they are procuring hundreds of types of products for meeting the agricultural requirements. They are made aware about various standards which has been formulated by BIS and various conformity certifications which has been given to various manufacturers. So they will ensure that in their tender document these things are marked that procurement shall be only possible if your products are BIS certified. So the consumers start from the school to the colleges to the district levels and all that. So through this mass campaigning, people to people contact programs, these awareness programs have been initiated, and RWAs, what we call these days of society and apartments, they are also made aware about various new standards, the various mandatory certifications which has been brought, so that when consumer goes to the market, they know, well, this is ISI my product. It gives a guarantee by the government of India, by BIS, and they get a confidence that they should go and purchase such certified products. I'd also like to tell you that you must be aware about hallmarking. Hallmarking is such an important, scheme brought under compulsory certification by Government of India, because many of the retailers and jewelers, they used to sell substandard gold purity. Now they all have been mandated that the consumer gets what they deserve by paying the amount what they are giving. The hallmarking is basically purity of precious metals. So it is an assurance of purity of the precious metals. So these are the way government is going into the various types of consumers.
So, sir, in this age of the rapid and the advanced technologies, how BIS is coping up with the innovations and the new standardizations?
Well, as I said earlier, that standards are not a stagnant document, it is a dynamic document. And these standards keep on changing with change in the technological advancement, with change in technologies, with change in use, and many other things as per the requirement of industry or as per the requirement of the customers. See, at international levels, whatever technological changes are taking place, as I said, BIS is very active at ISO level, at IEC level, at various international levels. So BIS is aware about the new trends and innovations which are taking place in the technological areas. So BIS committees which are formulating these standards, they are equally active. They adopt these technologies. Of course, before adopting, they are careful about whether our Indian conditions should suit those technology advancements. Because our country, it's a very vast and it varies in various technological development. And we are national standards bodies. It must suit all types of requirements. So any addition of new technology within the standard are done through amendments to the standards, revision of the standards, so that all these standards are kept at par at international level. Because if you do that, you cannot go towards trade, global trade. You cannot make global trades. Every international countries, they want a uniform technological field so that trade facilitation is possible. Therefore, BIS is always updating its standards, and therefore it is always at par with international level.
Okay. So, sir, with this advice, how you will going to provide a little more information to our viewers regarding the professionals and the business which they have to take in care, along with the importance of the standard?
Importance to the business, to the industrial community, we are informing through various awareness programs. We are meeting industries in various ways, through their programs of promotional activities, through advertisements, through one-to-way communication. BIS is organizing many platforms. We are making them aware that these standards have been changed with new technologies and all that. And these adoption of technologies and other things are done by the industry also to suit their products. They are adding new products within the same license, BIS license. In terms of a new variety of products are coming into the license. So these industrial associations are also making progress. They are adopting new technologies, and then these new products are also being brought under the conformity assessment under this BIS. So these industrial trends are also coping along with the technological changes.
And sir, how can businesses actively contribute to the standardization process?
business, when you form a technical committee, this technical committee comprises of members from each and every field of stakeholders. They are producers, R&D activists, the teaching community, the purchasers, the establishments of NGOs, and many others who have some bearing on these standards. So they are always a part of this standards formulation activity. They are always taken into the various committee, and then they deliberate upon during the sectional committee meetings, and they discuss and they give their views, and only then standards are formulated. A standards formulation has various 3-4 stages. First, a preliminary draft is prepared, it goes into wide circulation, and then it is again, comments are received from different sectors. Those comments are again discussed in the sectional committee, in which industries and others are members of this committee, and finally they are formulated as a national standard. What I would like to add here, very important, unlike ISO standardization, in India, in BIS, the standards are formulated on consensus principle. Consensus principles means all those stakeholders, they must be agreeable to the parameters laid down in the standards. And only then the standards are finalized and notified. But in ISO, where there are so many countries involved, they are not formulated on the consensus principles. They are formulated on the basis of voting. Every country votes for particular provisions of a standard, whether you agree to this test or not. So India votes, Pakistan votes, Australia votes, either favor or not favor. Ultimately, the largest majority decision is adopted as an international standard. But in India, in BIS, consensus approach helps all stakeholders to adopt the standard so that it is benefited by all concerned. So this is how industry gets involved while formulation of these standards. In fact, they are part and parcel of a standardization process. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a brief knowledge regarding the BIS, regarding the ISI, regarding Bureau of Indian Standards. Thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast and giving us the all knowledge in the world of standards. The information you given to us and the viewers was very much helpful. We have gained a lot of knowledge from you. Thank you for being on this broadcast and giving your valuable input to us.
Thank you very much to you, Shikra, also, because as I said, being a part of Aleph India Group, it gives me really confidence and pleasure to implement the same thing which I was doing while being in BIS. So regulatory compliances and conformity assessments are such an important aspect of any country's economic growth, a rather global economy, without which no country can happen. So it is very relevant in these days when all global economies are bothering for coming to trade and removing the technical barriers to trade so that they can grow. India is world's top growing company. The country, I should say, having highest GDP, and all this is because we have taken care of, and we are self-reliant, not dependent on others, and therefore we are hopeful that in days and years to come, we shall be fully self-reliant and will be, developing into a very, very top-level economy of the globe. And therefore, all these actions on our part and BIS and compliances are really mega structures for all this growth which we are doing all these things. So it is equally nice for me to be part of that organization which ensures that the regulatory frameworks are in place. Okay, so it was also for me also a pleasure. Whatever information I shared with you was also important and good for me also. Thank you very much.